Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Hardwood Nations podcast with your boy CL Anthony and my right hand man, Bryce Ward. What's going on, Bryce?
Not much, man. What's going on with you?
Hey, it's NBA Finals week, my man. The Phoenix Suns are
Uh,
up 2-0. Milwaukee's in a 0-2 deficit. What are your takeaways, really quick, from the first two games of this series? Did it go how you thought it was going to go? Did anything surprise you so far?
the only thing that surprised me is how versatile and how useful Giannis was, especially in that second game. I we don't know the full extent of that injury, even though they've told us what they know and what the plan is. But I just think it's a little odd. So I hope he's okay long term. But I was surprised at just how much he was able to do. Like he really didn't miss a beat in that second game, especially. But with that said, the games have pretty much went the way I thought they would go, even if Giannis was healthy. Like Phoenix just looked so locked in and so able to like impose their style of game, and they're just one of the the better team basketball playing teams I've seen in a while. Like you sent me that play the other day where it was like nine passes.
Yes.
It they're just flowing so well, and Chris Paul and Denver are having good games, and if it's they're both efficient, you still have Aiden playing well when the style game suits him. I know Milwaukee tried to change things up a little bit in the second game, so Aiden didn't have as big of a game, but still with the focus being on him, aside from their big two guys, their other wing players, can knock down shots. So it's like pick your poison, but Phoenix comes out the winner in both those scenarios. And Devin Booker looked so locked in. Chris Paul looks poised and like the most knowledgeable guy left on the court. He has looked like that. I mean, kind of since Kawhi went out. Like it's just they're operating on another level. And I said Phoenix in six. Now I'm thinking maybe more Phoenix in five. But no, those first two games went exactly kind of how I thought they would go, basically. But kudos to Giannis for playing well and fighting through this injury, because even if he thinks he can be on the court, it has to be painful and has to be lingering. And so, I mean, that game too was impressive by him, but Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday and those other guys didn't do enough to capitalize on his game. So it still got them a loss. So Milwaukee has like notoriously played well in these playoffs, especially at home. And so I think they maybe get the next game or the game after, but that might be it. But nothing's really surprised me except Giannis's play.
That's pretty good. Pretty good breakdown. Um, Giannis has been playing spectacular. Game one, he had a huge double double. I think 17 and 19 or something in that area. Of course,
Hmm.
game two, he had 42 points. So far
Yeah.
in the first two games, he's averaging, I believe, it's 33 or 34 points a game. He's playing spectacular. I am worried about him, not necessarily long term, but as far as next season, because I know they have him drugged up.
Yeah.
And that's me saying it kindly, of course. But
Hmm.
he's taking all kinds of shots and treatments or whatever so he can get through these games. Of course, he's not going to come out and say it. But again, that was an ugly injury. It was a 2 to 3 week injury, and he was only out for a week. So he's drugged up, but he's producing on the court. It's unfortunate that the others around him aren't necessarily producing as well. But then again, he is a ball stopper. We have talked about that on numerous occasions. So when you have a player that's a ball stopper and he's your go-to guy, and you look across the court and you see a team that's the epitome of ball movement, there's going to be some issues. And just to break down that nine pass play, which was it was a broken play by the way, but just to break it down, up until the last second, Milwaukee actually played great defense, which is
Hmm.
why it took nine passes for Aiden to even get the dunk and the foul. And as beautiful as it was, like I said, it was a broken play. Phoenix almost had like three turnovers on the play, but it was so beautiful, and it sums up It sums up this whole series. Even though the series is not over yet, it sums up the series. As good as Milwaukee can play, Phoenix is going to be a little better each night, and that's going to be this whole finals um, matchup. Now we're going to go into Game 3 soon, but I want to say Chris Paul, Devin Booker are doing and saying the right things pre-game and post-game. Like Chris Paul said, they just did what they were supposed to do. They won the first 2 games at home. They ain't done nothing yet. Okay. Devin Booker kind of said the same thing. I don't know who his handlers are, management, whoever. I don't
Mhm.
know. I know his dad's with him a lot. Every time I see Devin Booker pre-game, he's wearing throwback Phoenix Suns shirts, shooting shirts, jackets. I don't know who's putting that little bug in his ear, but it's fantastic. Okay, I've seen him twice now before Game 1 and Game 2 wearing throwback material from 1993. Fucking fantastic. Which was the last time they were in the finals.
Mhm.
So someone's in his ear with that, and they're doing a great job. Um, I got a kick out of seeing Wade at the game. Wade was at Game 2, and he was cheering on the Suns, and he told Chris Paul after the game, "I got to get 2 more." So that
Mhm.
was a good moment because we know those guys are close. Um, Going into tonight, I know the game's going to be an hour earlier, so you may be able to catch it. And going into tonight, I say Milwaukee take this game. I originally picked Milwaukee forgive me, Phoenix in 5. This is the game
Mhm.
I'm giving Milwaukee, Game 3. So I got them winning this game. I actually have them winning this game by 10 to 15 points. Okay. I think you're leaning towards that too. You think Milwaukee takes the game tonight?
Yeah, and I think Giannis keeps doing what he's been doing, which is everything in his power. I mean, he was getting into the guys on the sideline, just trying to keep them pumped, trying to keep them working hard. That's what you want from your leader. He is doing everything in his power, and he's doing everything the right way. Um, it's just I don't think it's going to be enough, but I think if they get the game, like a game, I think this is the one they get, and he'll have to do what he's been doing. But Chris Middleton and Drew, especially Chris Middleton, he's going to need to have one of those games where he drops 30 something points, and Holiday is going to have to keep doing at least what he's been doing. But I think for them to win, Chris Middleton has to have one of these big games that we've seen from him in the playoffs. So I think that's what it's going to come down to. But they should be more comfortable at home. If he's going to have a game like that, it should be this one or the next. But yeah, I think if they get a game, it should be this one.
Got it. They have to win this. I mean, they have to win this game
Otherwise, the other one, if
tonight.
you get the other win, like the next game, it's still like coming back from 3-1 is kind of it's demoralizing. We've all picked Phoenix to win. Milwaukee has to pick themselves to win, right? So in their mind, you have to win this game so you don't get like demoralized, basically. So I
Right,
think this
right,
is the game they feel
right.
like they have to win to have a chance at this championship.
Yeah, if they get there's no way, of course, no team in the history of the NBA has come back from 0-3. If they lose Game 3 tonight, even if they win Game 4, you still have Game 5 in Phoenix. It's
Yeah.
not the old days of the 2-3-2 format. Game 5 is going to be in Phoenix regardless. So in order for Milwaukee to have a chance in this series, they have to win both these games,
Hmm.
which starts tonight. I don't think they get both the games. Like I said, Suns in 5. Um, but Milwaukee has to get both of these games in order for this to become a series. Because right now they're getting outplayed and just they're getting outplayed, out hustled, outlucked, out everything right now. And they're a good team.
Out coached.
Yes, um,
Yeah.
they're very. They're. Thank you for reminding me about that. Look, everyone else has been saying it for me, so they've been saying it loud and clearly. Look, anytime someone says this is the dumbest team in basketball, it's not necessarily the players. It
Yeah.
starts at the top.
That's ruthless.
It starts at the top, dude. Dude, dude. Everyone's like, this is the dumbest team in basketball, like because they have size over Phoenix, and they're not going to the hole. Like they want to hit turnaround jumpers and shoot threes and shit. So at some point, the coach has to be like, "Look, y'all need to stop this shit and let's change it up."
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, and you know me, I don't hold any punches. I'm ruthless. Um, so yeah, they have to win the game tonight. They have to win Tuesday's night game. If they lose the game tonight, I I think it's gonna be, if they win tonight, 5. If they lose tonight, then it's probably going to be a sweep. But I'm still
Hmm.
sticking with Suns in 5. Really quick, we have some breaking news that affects you. The Orlando Magic have officially hired Jamal Mosley as their new head coach, and it's going to be a 4-year deal. So Mosley comes from the Dallas Mavericks. So how do you feel about the Magic hiring Jamal Mosley?
Well, of all the coaches and like the options that seemed likely, there's a lot of these assistants that we were interviewing that I really didn't know anything about. I I don't know these guys' styles, or I basically only knew the legacy that they were coming from. So to know that this guy was coming from the Dallas organization, we couldn't get like Rick Carlisle, but getting an assistant that's knowledgeable and comes from that kind of team with the legacy that they have, there's nothing that I don't really like about it. Um, I wasn't too crazy on the Penny Hardaway um, choice.
Hmm.
Not because I have anything against him. I love Penny Hardaway. I I'm not so sure I want a college coach coming in with these young guys and like starting here,
Right,
um,
right.
and not taking anything away from his coaching ability. I just wanted someone that was already a coach in the league. So I don't really know too much about this guy other than he's just coming from the Mavs organization. But they interviewed a lot of people. It seemed like the Magic did their due diligence. So this is like the fourth or fifth coach I've seen in like the last 10 years or something like that. Roughly something like that. And they signed him for 4 years, like you said. I guess we'll just see. I mean, we're gonna have a very young team. We have these two draft picks. If they keep the two picks and they don't trade up or do anything else with them,
Right.
we'll have Fultz, Isaac, Cole Anthony. We have a very young team. So this guy's gonna have his hand on them early and gonna be able to basically do whatever he wants to with this team. So I think we'll see early on what kind of style and what they're thinking. But until the whole team gets healthy and we can get some consistent minutes for different team units on the court, I don't really know what to expect. I hope everything works out great for the guy. I hope the team and these young guys can unify under him, um, because we have to start this rebuild and get it going as fast as possible. The coach was a big question mark up until this point. It seemed like it could be a lot of people. So I had no idea what kind of direction they were really wanting to go in. And until we draft our players, we still won't really know what they're trying to do. So I just tired of losing. So hopefully this is the beginning of a better rebuild than last time.
Yeah, and there's a blueprint out there already. The Doc Rivers Heart and Hustle teams. I don't know if you recall those teams, but the Doc Rivers Heart and Hustle team can be the blueprint for this team, because one thing that they have in common, this team is loaded with defensive studs. Now we don't know who's going to stand out offensively just yet. You have a little bit of firepower, with Cole Anthony. We'll see what folks do when he comes back. But defensively, with these young guys, the Magic has the potential to at least be in the top 15, top 10 with overall defensive efficiency. So now you just have to figure out, okay, where is the offense going to come from? I
Hmm.
believe this. I believe this team could be surprising as long as all the players come back healthy. So we still don't know when Fultz is coming back. We still don't know when Isaac is coming back. But those two pieces added to the cohesion that was starting last year towards the end of the season, Hell, they may win 30 games. Um, that's on the high end for them, but they may win 30 games. That won't get you into the playoffs, but it will at least start some momentum going. So we'll see. I'm not. I know you guys have been rebuilding for a long time. I know the fan base is crying and yelling and cussing at management. Trust me, we hear y'all. But I think this year could be better than some of us had previously expected. If you just look at the roster on paper, I hear Riley back there, so he must agree with me. And also, I want to say kudos because we have a large Orlando Magic fan base. So kudos to you guys. And also, Bryce, I believe I showed you this last night where 85% of our viewers aren't subscribed. So we're gonna need y'all to subscribe to and shit. Like for real. Any thoughts on that,
Please.
Bryce? We see y'all watching. You just gotta hit that little subscribe button for us.
We
Back
would
to
really
the
appreciate it.
we definitely will. Back to the NBA finals. I sent out a fan topic on Twitter as far as giving the fans a chance to vote on what they would like us to speak on. So the fans chose the NBA ratings being higher this season versus last season. Do you have any initial thoughts on why it could be that the ratings are up this year?
I think it's because it's not the same old teams that we're used to seeing and the same old players that we're used to seeing. The NBA, I think, is always a little worried that if they don't have one or two of the big market teams in the finals, that they're going to have problems. And
Mhm.
I think this is a good example of the latter, or I mean, the other basically opinion where it's, well, if things get stagnant and the same all the time, people get bored and don't want to tune in as much. Well, I think we're seeing that that's definitely the case. I mean, it's not like Milwaukee has this huge fan base, nor does Phoenix. I mean, they have a dedicated fan base that turns out like we've seen, especially in Phoenix, but it's not like a big, huge money market area. So, I mean, I'm excited to see it because maybe it'll change some opinions for how some of these playoffs should go and how people get excited for them. Because depending on where you go for your news or your info, it's kind of you get a one-sided image sometimes, depending on who it is talking. Because you you see some people say, "Oh, well, LeBron or Golden State or like Boston, like none of these teams are in it." The Lakers, they're not there, so it's like a disappointment for some. But I mean, what's the point in having 32 teams if you just want the same 4 to 6 teams in it all the time? Like it defeats the purpose of why we're watching it anyways, which is to see what these teams can do and build. And you, the different ways to do it is what's interesting to me. And so there's nothing about these finals that isn't exciting. There's nothing about these playoffs up to this point when Atlanta was still in it and the Clippers were still in it that wasn't exciting. So hopefully it helps silence some of the haters and some of the people that always want it to be the same. I think that's some like LeBron fanboys or Golden State, Steph Curry fanboys, things like that. It's that those people and those guys had their time, and if they get back, which I'm sure they will, in their NBA careers, good, they deserve it. But to like downplay what these other teams have done and to try to like break it down in terms of stats for TV ratings seems ridiculous. So I'm glad that the ratings are proving otherwise because it's going to be good for these other markets and good for the NBA to realize that they don't really have anything to worry about. I think it's good for the future.
Got it. My take is a little different. My take is it got some sprinkles of what you just mentioned, but I think there is a little LeBron James fatigue. Now, before I go deep into that, I'm in the camp of if you're able to get there, I don't care. So what I mean by that is if Golden State can get there 10 years in a row, they got there. I don't care. If
Hmm.
LeBron gets there 10 years in a row, he got there. I don't care. Someone else has to beat him. So I don't. I'm not one of those people that say, "Oh, I'm sick of seeing the same team there every goddamn year." No, someone needs to beat them, then they won't be there. But I will also say, considering the fact that the ratings were down considerably, damn, I can't talk today, since they were down a lot last year, and a lot of people have a lot of theories as to why they were down a lot last year, specifically in the finals and in the bubble. Ratings were down across the board. We know what was going on last season off the court with social justice issues, right?
Hmm.
We don't have that this year. The NBA hasn't put that to the forefront. The NBA doesn't have it branded on the court. Remember, we had that branding on the court, all over the court, on the
Hmm.
players, all of that last season. People didn't want to watch. The people who paid the money for the big time tickets didn't want to watch. Okay, whatever their reason, we both know what the reason is, but whatever their reason, they didn't want to watch. Now you don't have any of that branding. Now you don't even have LeBron James, who was the poster boy for that in the finals. So guess what?
Hmm.
All those fans that tuned out last year because they didn't want to hear a specific message, they're back this year. Another thing I'll say is that Phoenix is a larger market than some people know. The team hasn't been successful enough to sustain it, but it's a
Hmm.
very large market. Think of all the sports teams they have in that Phoenix market. It's a big market and it's a money market. When people retire, they go to one or two places, Florida or Arizona. that's that's it, right? So they are a huge market and an affluent market. So that's another reason why the ratings are up as well. But the main reasons that the ratings are up to me is that they don't the NBA doesn't have that messaging that they had last year, which turned, right or wrong, it turned a lot of fans off. Now those fans are back. And like I said, you don't see the poster boy as well. Because remember that poll just a few months ago where the poster boy, when I'm talking about LeBron, was voted as the most hated NBA player.
Hmm.
Now he's not in the finals anymore. So guess what? People are coming back. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
And I can remember a time. The NBA has always promoted stars since the 80s. They've always promoted stars, and the big money stars, Magic, Larry, Michael, Isaiah, even Charles Barkley, Shaq, people for the most part love those guys. And even Kobe towards the end, even though he had a little trouble there. I don't think I've ever seen in my years of watching basketball where the best player on the planet is also the most hated player. I don't think I've seen that. So I think that's something to take into account as well as to why the ratings up and he's not there. Because remember, he got eliminated in the first round. Ratings have been up for every every round. The ratings has been up, and he was out early. So I think there's
Hmm.
a huge correlation with people being fatigued, as his business manager said, fatigued with certain social messaging, and then also with the poster boy of that. I don't agree with it, but I'm just saying, if from a corporate standpoint, from a season ticket buyer standpoint, from people buying the lead pass standpoint, that's where the money is right now. The money wasn't there last year with that. So the NBA is happy with what's going on right now. They'll never acknowledge it, but they are happy with what's going on right now.
Hmm.
Plus, notwithstanding, as you mentioned, the teams are fucking fantastic. Trey Young put on a show. The
Hmm.
Clippers, Philly, and now we have Milwaukee and Phoenix. So the NBA is in good shape going forward. Um, but there's reasonings to why we saw that messaging last year, and we're not seeing it now, and we're seeing a huge correlation between the ratings because the ratings are up 13 to 15% right now, and God knows what's going to happen tonight with them being in Milwaukee. So it's
Yep.
deep. It's deep.
Most of these things usually are multi-layered,
No,
multifaceted, a lot
it's
of
really
different
deep.
elements that go into them. Not one thing really depicts what's going on. So
But the
that's
one
why we
thing
got to
for
have these conversations, different opinions.
the one thing that is for certain is we're not our hands aren't tied by corporate America, so we can say the talk about the ugly truth sometimes where other people may not necessarily talk about that. So That was a great pick for the fans to pick, and we'll do that more often to get the fans involved. And hell, you guys can also comment on our videos as well. We'll respond back. We like to hear from you guys. All right, Bryce, let's freestyle it. What's on your mind?
Well, I don't know. That was unexpected. Um, what what's the biggest thing Milwaukee has to do to walk away with a victory tonight?
Ball movement and attacking the basket, and not attacking the basket as in attacking the basket and then stopping in the mid range to shoot a fadeaway jumper. No, attacking the basket hard. Put your head down, go in there, anticipate and expect contact, and get your ass on the free throw line and make fucking free throws. Period. That is it. They got to play big boy ball against Phoenix. They got to slow the game down. They got to ugly the game up. They got to play 1990s New York Knicks, Miami Heat basketball to kind of knock Phoenix off their comfort zone. Because right now, Phoenix is very comfortable. They're not feeling Milwaukee defensively. So that's what Milwaukee
Okay.
has to do. Can they do it? I don't know if they can do it or not, but that's what they need to do. But they need to just head. And Giannis is the only one who will do it. And then he's one of their worst free throw shooters. He'll
Yeah.
put his head down. He'll put his head down and go to the basket. So with him doing it, it's not enough because you need Chris Middleton doing it. We know he's a good shooter. We need him to convert some free throws. Drew Holiday is a lot bigger and wider than Chris Paul. Get your ass in the post and do some work. Simple.
Hmm.
Basketball is really simple. People make it hard, and no, basketball is really, really simple. If I'm bigger than you, I'm taking you to the hole. I'm either gonna score or you're gonna foul me. It's that simple. That's it. Then Milwaukee doesn't do that at all. At
Gotcha.
all. At all. They don't do it. So let me ask you this question. We kind of touched on this last week, but from a legacy standpoint, we talked about Chris Paul and what this championship would mean to him. Now I'm going to throw you a bone for your Kentucky boy. What will this championship mean for Devin Booker?
Um, I think it sets him up even more to be the face, or like possibly like one of the biggest stars, one of the biggest faces that the NBA has, and him getting a championship this early, in terms of like how he got drafted, his legacy, and his fame coming up, it just solidifies everything. Solidifies Calipari for in Kentucky picking him, and it shows that he knows how to pick champions. Because this is, well, I mean, I don't know how many he really has, but you got Anthony Davis, you have Devin Booker, and then going back farther, it just plays up that he knows what he's doing. Devin Booker is a legacy player who's benefited from his dad showing him what to
Yeah,
do,
yeah,
like we've seen from a few different stars now. And but he has the skill set. He has everything he has in order to keep playing well. And Phoenix getting him a championship this young just helps tie him up with that team for a long time. He is looking like he's poised to have long-term success by getting a championship this year, by taking some of the pressure off. And he seems like the type who wants to be known as the best. Like he pays homage to Kobe. You know, he's dropped 70 before. Like he is like a next level player. He's a premier star. He has everything you would want. Uh, Phoenix has an absolute gem on their hands, and I'm excited for him to get a championship early because, like I said, it takes the pressure off. But he has, it seems like, the attitude to say he wants to be the best and see how many championships he can get. So he, I think, will only continue to get better, which is kind of scary. Um, and the league should be on notice because of how good he is. I mean, yeah, Chris Paul is the extra like sauce on top that That really seems to be the difference maker for them. But we've talked about this as Chris Paul gets a little bit older, which he doesn't have too many like great years left. I mean, he's really been playing great ball the last couple years. I mean, his whole career. I'm not saying the last couple years, but it seems like his career's been like rejuvenated since he proved what he could do on his own in OKC. But once he's done, just having Devin Booker locked up and those other younger guys that the team is built around has them poised for success for a long time. Because you can just bring in another guy who's not quite as good as Devin Booker, and that team gets better through growth and age. You don't need that Chris Paul anymore. You can still, because you can't replace Chris Paul. He's like one of the greatest point guards, I'll say that, of all time. Okay, so you can't like replace him, but that team will get better, and Devin Booker's going to get better. So you don't have to have another Chris Paul to always be in championship contention. But they're going to have to pay those young guys. They're going to have to pay Devin Booker, and as long as he doesn't get hurt, there's no reason why Phoenix can't build a legacy like what Golden State built around Stephen Curry.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely,
It's impressive, and I think he's going to be around and be great for a long time.
very well said. I'm gonna close us out with this. Winning a championship in any sport allows you to enter into a fraternity, a kinship with other players, other franchises. So it's just important to franchises as it is to players and even some fans. You know,
Hmm.
I give people hell when their teams haven't won championships in certain sports. You know, we banter back and forth about it. My
I'm
dad used to
aware.
tell my dad used to tell me the story about the Super Bowl tree, where only champions can stand under this tree, and the other people can stand out of out in the sun, where
Hmm.
the champions are in the shade. Phoenix has knocked on the door three times: 76, 93, and now 2021. It's time. It's time. Milwaukee has a championship.
Hmm.
74. They have one. This would be a first for Phoenix to get into that NBA championship fraternity. And the other night I was tweeting, this is for Paul Westphal. This is for Connie Hawkins. This is for Charles Barkley. I was just naming all the Phoenix greats because I know them. I was a fan, so I know them. This is
Hmm.
what this is for. And this is the best time of the year when you can see a new franchise and new players step into that fraternity. That's why when I saw Wade tell Chris Paul, get two more, that was letting him
Hmm.
know, hey, you get two more, and then you can finally be one of us. Even though you're a great
Yeah.
player, Hall of Fame player, you get two more wins. Now you can finally be one of us, and it's a good feeling because every player deserves to win a championship, but every player won't win a championship. Um,
Yeah.
so it seems like all directions, everything's pointing to the Suns winning this. No disrespect to Milwaukee, but they're just not as good of a team as the Suns are. It's glaring. First two games have been glaring. So by this time next week, we should have our champion crown. Either way, to be honest with
Yeah.
you, we should have our champion crown. And if it's Phoenix, it's well deserved, and it was a long time coming. And as you said, Devin Booker is the future of this league. And that makes me feel good as a fan because that kid's special. We've always known he was special. I know some people probably thought he was soft early on. That kid's a firecracker though. He is feisty. I like it.
Yeah.
Um, Kudos to him. So that's going to be it for this week's episode of the Hardwood Nations podcast. Please like, subscribe, share our content, comment below. Hey, we'll shout you guys out. We'll drop more fan topics as well. Hit us up on Twitter at Hardwood Nation, Facebook at Hardwood Nation. Of course, we're on YouTube at the Hardwood Nation. That's going to be it. You guys have a good weekend.